Hello and welcome to my hobby table once again. So as you can see on the table here, I've got several props and a couple of prop balancers. And the reason I'm doing this video, this is kind of a follow-up video to the Sky Spirit propeller review that I did a few days ago. And the reason I'm doing this is because I was not super impressed or pleased with the results that I was getting when I was attempting to balance these or verify the balance of these props. Now, I didn't have this APC prop. I wasn't using that at all. And quite honestly, I'm not sure why I've even got that out here. But anyway, so I wasn't super impressed. And in all honesty, I do not balance props all the time. For what I'm doing with my engine runs, it's really pretty irrelevant because in 1 or 2 engine runs of an engine, if a prop is slightly out of balance, it's not going to do any damage to the engine. If you were to fly an engine for 20, 30, 40, 50 flights with a really imbalanced prop, then you might have a problem. But an imbalanced prop will show itself on a stand pretty quickly and pretty easily. You'll see the wobble in the video of the propeller in motion, and I would probably, if it was really, really bad, see it in vibrations on the engine, which I don't ever see that, so I'm not too concerned about it. But in the old days, when I was flying, I was balancing every prop I ever used. And back then, you know, they've had several prop balancers. I had a Top Flight one for a while that had these 2 magnets. So basically one end of the thing holding the shaft holding it was attached to the magnet and the other end was floating. That was pretty good, but you really couldn't go full rotation. So I was questioning not the tools, and I'll talk about these here in a second. I wasn't so much questioning the tools as I was, after I posted that video, questioning my technique. And I believe that I've been somewhat vindicated by just reading what the instructions say on these things. So like the instructions on this one, and I'll post a video or post some images here that state exactly how they say to do it. But they basically say it, and so they both of these. So first of all, let's just go here. First, and both of these were things I got from like Facebook Marketplace deals, I believe, or given to me. So this one's a Robart High Point Precision Balancer. Probably a pretty darn good balancer in the day, maybe still is, who knows. This is what it looks like, or what it looked like back then. And then the other one I've got currently is this Dubro True Turn Prop Balancer. Another really good one. Both of these are set up on wheels so that the shaft actually sits on very low friction wheels, as opposed to that Top Flight one I had that was just magnetic. But the Top Flight one didn't have the capability of having the prop hang over the edge and really rotate all the way through. But in reality, that's not necessary. So I was thinking that that was part of my issue, was that I just wasn't doing it right. But it turns out I was really doing it right, because this one, the instructions say basically just set it still or gently rock it or rotate it, depending on how you got it set up, and let it find its own center. This one basically just says put it on their level, let go, and watch and see what happens. So that tells me that what I was doing was not improper. And it also tells me that what I was seeing in some of these results, now one of them, like this Falcon one, was clearly, and I put little marks on the heavy sides. This Falcon one was clearly heavy. It showed very consistent. But a friend of mine in Germany sent me an email saying, hey, you got something wrong with one of your prop balancer. This was the one I was using. He said, your prop balancer is not right. It's broken or something. And I'm like, no, it isn't. It's not broken. It's perfectly usable. That's what it is. So he was kind of saying, hey, and then I started thinking about that, and I'm like, well, I know it's not this. So what can it be? It can be me. So I brought both of these out yesterday, set them on the table, and I was sitting here, and I set them both up so that the prop overhangs the table, so it's going all the way around. And that's where part 2 of this video is going to come into play, because I've got these prop balancers out in my living room on the table, side by side, kind of at an angle like this, so I can spin props at the same time so you can kind of see what's going on with them. Because looking down at it like this, and even that angle I had here, I had crap in the background, and it just really wasn't very good. So I'm going to see if I can't make a little bit better video in the living room. But the bottom line is, it doesn't have to rotate all the way around, but that's how I've got both of these set up, because it seems like, you know, maybe that's a better way to do it. But what I was seeing yesterday was, I was seeing very inconsistent results. Except for this Falcon one. Maybe I even saw some inconsistent results with this. This one, this 10.5, is so lightweight, and I think it's so properly balanced that sometimes it would sit like this, it would sit like this, or this. I mean, it would sit like this. So I think when it just sits in a certain orientation and it's inconsistent, like one time it's like this, one time it's like this, I think it's just balanced. I think that's how close it is to being balanced. This Sky Spirit prop is incredibly well balanced, in my opinion, based on what I was seeing. That's, again, I put a dot here, but I would see this tip below, and sometimes I'd see it like this a little bit. So I saw inconsistency. So what I want to do is, this Zor is clearly out of balance. And this one, so these two I'm certain are out of balance, because I've got little marks on each side of the heavy hubs. So these are, this one I'm not even sure I'm going to put on there, because I know this one's out of balance. But I mean, it's so out of balance that I think this one was giving me very consistent results with both of these. This APC, who cares? We're not doing that. I could go into why I don't like doing APC props, but maybe that'll be for another day. So let's just talk about these wood props. So I'm going to take these into the living room, set up a camera and a light, see if I can't get some good lighting, and just do a couple of quick tests simultaneously and see if we can see the inconsistency that I was seeing. And I'm saying that I believe the inconsistency was basically based on the fact that these props are so well balanced that, and or light, that it can't really just be perfectly level all the time. That's my theory. Let's go out and see if I can reproduce the inconsistent results that I was seeing. So I'll do like each prop maybe 3 times. And I don't know, it could be kind of a long video, but I think it could be kind of interesting. And it's not one of those videos where I want to do any editing. You're going to have to watch it real time to see that I'm not just screwing with the results. So unfortunately, this is going to be one of those things where if you really want to get to see the real results, you're going to have to watch the whole video, because I don't want to be editing and then people say, well, you did something to it or whatever, because that would not be a very good thing. So with that said, let's see if I can reproduce some results, or see what kind of results I get today using these 2 balancers. Okay, so here I am, and I've got the Sky Spirit prop here on the Dubro True Turn balancer, and this Falcon prop on the Robart balancer. So I just set these up, and this is how they're sitting. So, and I got them set up so that they're not going to interfere with each other. At least I don't believe they are. But I wanted to try to get both of them in the same frame at the same time to speed this up a little bit. So the heavy side is this blade on this one, theoretically, and on this one, the heavy side is this blade. So let's just see, you saw what they were just sitting at. Let's just see what they're going to do now. Okay, so this one is stopped yet again, and it's showing balanced. This one is showing the heavy side is this side. At least that's what it was yesterday. So just for the heck of it, let's just put these. I don't really want to swap these spindles because they're different lengths. So let me just swap these real quick. And we'll try this again. This Robart one just slides in place. The other one actually has a little twist knob that you actually have to hold it down a certain way. I hold it down like this, and then you grab it like that. So let's see here. Hopefully these aren't going to interfere with each other. Yeah, they just did. So let's just see what happens here. Let's see where these end up and see. So we're kind of comparing the difference between these two prop balancers and the results we're seeing between certain props. So this one, the Falcon over here on the Robart one, was consistent 2 times. Now, this is the heavy blade on the Falcon, and as you can see what it's doing here. This is was the heavy blade yesterday on this. So let's just do this. Let's just go, instead of rotating it, let's just see if we can just kind of hold it level and say, do what you want to do, like the instructions say. Okay, so this is very interesting because I'm pretty sure I'm seeing the little black dot I put on this blade. Yesterday, that one was the one that was they touched that time. Heavy blade. This one's consistent. Heavy blade in yesterday's heavy blade. Today's heavy blade is that one. Huh. Okay, so let's go figure that out. Well, I can say this. At least the results that I'm seeing are consistent, more or less. On this Robart one, the Falcon was showing balanced. Let's go back and do that again real quick here, just to see if we can confirm consistency there. So let's put the Robart, or the Falcon, back on the Robart balancer. And I don't know if there's any need in doing that one. That one was, yeah, might as well do this one again here, over here. Stick with me here. This is kind of laborious to set up. It's tight. Well, now this one is showing that this is a heavy blade, and now it's showing that it's heavy there. So now magically this one's decided to be more consistent. It's one of those things, can you hold it? Okay, look at that. I even had this blade down a little bit. Now this one is showing the heavy blade here as slightly down, which is what I was seeing yesterday. So even switching between the two stands, I'm getting inconsistent results. I don't know that I did anything different between setting this up and turning the video on and swapping the two, but yet the results are inconsistent. Now this one is showing right. This one is showing what I was seeing yesterday, with this blade being slightly heavier, but basically I think this is a very well balanced prop. Now this one is showing what I saw yesterday, which was that this tip here was consistently out of balance. Let's do a little rotation action there and see if rotation changes that. Now I think these things are pretty close. I don't necessarily want them to hit. So we'll hold off until that one gets more stable before I rotate this guy. Okay, now they're not going to hit. So I don't know. I guess the bottom line I'm saying here is that these props are all probably pretty darn close to being balanced, but I'm seeing inconsistency between the two different high precision balancers. And imagine in the old days where you had the cone thing here, it was just a little short piece like this with these two little cones, and you'd hold it in your finger. And that's how they wanted you to balance it. Imagine how much friction you've got by holding that thing, even if you held it as light as possible. And people were balancing props doing it that way as opposed to this, which are not ball bearing. Neither of these are ball bearing. They're just very low friction aluminum wheels. So now this one is showing consistent. Why wasn't it showing consistent when I first started? I can't answer that. But now this one is showing that this blade is a little bit heavier. It's showing a little bit down a little bit more than it was before. But it's like, depending on how shaky your hand is. Okay, so that's what it should look like. That's the row bar. Just for the heck of it, let's see if this thing is long enough to reach here, because these things are kind of different lengths, but no, that's not long enough to get in there. So let's try a couple of different props here. I'm going to put this little bitty 10.5 on here, on the Robart one. And I don't think I put a heavy mark on this tip here. Well, yeah, we can rotate it. You can sit and watch that light. Boy, I don't know if I want to put this big Zor on here or not. This Zor probably have to be done by itself because it's so big. I'm not going to be able to fit two in the same frame. Okay, so look at that. That shows as being the heavy tip, but it was never that heavy yesterday. Look at that. So, is the prop out of balance? Or is it just that it's so balanced? Or light. It's so light that it's too light for the accuracy of the balancer? I don't know what to say about that. That's what I was seeing. So let's rotate that one more time and see what happens before I move on to this last one. Well, maybe we won't have an issue here. So here's the Zor prop. Now on the Zor prop, I'll wait till it comes to its motionless state before. Okay, so here, look. Balanced. And this was a heavy blade. And that one's slightly down. So I think this prop is simply too light, or it's too perfectly balanced as it is, or both, to really show one way or the other. Now I was saying this Zor was pretty out of balance, which is what it's indicating to me, and that is the heavy blade. So let's just hold it here. I'm even going to give it some advantage of going that way. Okay, so this blade is really out of balance. Now, am I going to sit and balance these? No. The whole purpose of this video is just to show that if you have blades that are pretty damn close to being balanced, I believe that's the reason why you can see some inconsistency, because they're so close. They're not so far out that it's very, very obvious that they're imbalanced, except for this Zor, which is pretty surprising, because Zor props are usually pretty well balanced. In fact, they're usually so well balanced, I don't ever have to do anything to them. But this one is kind of shocking to me because it's really out. Let's just do this. Yeah, look at that. I mean, this thing is really out of balance. So, the Sky Spirit prop is awesome. This Sky Spirit prop is awesome. Sky Spirit props are awesome, in my opinion. So yet another validation for those props. This Falcon thing, you know, I don't know where these are made. Artem seemed to think that this was made in China, but the packaging didn't say anything about being made in China. You know, that's compared to this Zor. This Falcon is making this Zor look like crap. And I've always been a real big Zor fan. So, what does that tell you? I don't know. To me, it tells me that these props, with the exception of this one, these three here are so well balanced or so close that it can cause inconsistencies between these two. But that's about the best I can tell you. So that's a long video on prop balancing and some of the things that can cause potential inconsistencies and the proper way to do it.